And so the importance of Chiron itself is three things that's very important in our lives, and they're major key life passages. So we get Chiron as the wound. So think about like how we say we all have a childhood trauma that we've gone through, right? And so that's the wound. So that would be you. So Chiron is you, and then you get that first wound. Depending on when in life you get this wound, it acts separately. So like, let's say if you get it before, I think like 3, there's a certain level of there's a certain way that it affects you, or if you get it within your teenage years or in your 20s or even later, you don't get it much later in life. But in terms of like if you would get it either earlier as an infant or in your teens or in your early 20s, it will act differently. Now, what's happening, how Chiron is acting spiritually is like a connector. Think about our physical self in a connection to our higher self, right? Or that other aspect that's really more divine, because in the myth, that's what it's a Chiron is like half animal and then half divine. And so that's that bridge that's connecting. And the bridge itself is the pain, which is interesting because we are all afraid of pain and going through it. And that's why I kept, you see in the videos, I kept making reference to the pain as the healer, because you have to go through that pain, and again, through it, not necessarily to avoid it or anything like that. Again, I hope this is being recorded. You want to go through the pain so that you can grow. This is how you do the metamorphosis. And so that's the first one is what they call the first square, usually in one of those 3 categories, either as an infant, like a younger 3-4 years old, or as a teenager, early teenagers, 12 to 16, and then maybe in your early 20s you might run into your first wound. And think about deep wound, right? So a lot of them tend to be of sexual nature, molestation and sexual abuse or rapes. And so just understanding that, I'm not saying they are all of that nature, but it seems to me like a great amount of it is. My biggest thing to understand, which I got comments about, was the video with the heels is very key and important, because Chiron gets wounded inside of the myth of Chiron. He gets wounded, or she, get wounded on the left heel. The left heel is the feminine side. So so think about like our left side. Our left side most people are right-handed. Like right now, you see me, I'm moving my right hand. I am right-handed. So I am very much using my masculine side. And I hope everyone understands this about themselves. How it is that we communicate, act, react to things is very much masculine. And so that because the wounded side is the left side, and we use it less and less, and are more comfortable using the right side. And so Chiron gets wounded in the left heel. And so I just thought that it was very interesting that women's main fashion is high heels, and then we need healing, right? So and so it's very important. And one of the key thing in wearing high heels, and I'd experienced this for myself, is that it literally closes off our bubbling spring, which is an energy between the earth and the physical body. That's the spring where there's a vortex and energy can come up the body, when you wear heels, right? You wear the heel and the toes go like this, it closes the bubbling spring. Let me see what Infinity says. So many wounds get undetected. Yes, undetected, or stay in the subconscious. Now, and this is what I'm finding for myself, because even things that I thought, these are not issues that I have, they're still coming up. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to be surprised, because they may have worked through some layers of pain or layers of things that they thought they needed to address, only to find themselves digging deeper. And this is the tricky understanding with Chiron. There is 3 levels of healing that needs to be understood. The first one, like I said, the first square is that wound. The second one is an opposition. Chiron opposition gives, actually, what happens with Chiron opposition is that the thing that can heal you shows up. So you actually, the medicine comes in. The problem here is that sometimes we don't recognize the medicine. And the reason why we don't recognize the medicine is that we think that the medicine might be poison. And so if we're talking about sexual healing, and then it's a sexual trauma from young age, and then you have to go through sexual healing, then of course it's gonna have to be something to do with sexuality. And so remember how the society is, with a lot of religion, with a lot of like how it is that women have to conform or act or not act. So the healer, when it comes in, sometimes doesn't get recognized. And so there's a denial of the healer, because the healer can actually be the poison itself. And this is the key thing. The healer is the poison. So imagine if you went through sexual trauma, and so then you have issues with sex, and then the thing that's going to heal you is sex. So you see how it's going to be confusing to the being, because it's not the conversation on the couch. It's actually having physical sex that's going to heal you. Say like